All right, you degenerate gamblers and fantasy football fanatics, welcome back to the Deep Dive.
Oh, yeah.
Today,
Let's go.
we're diving headfirst into a topic that's probably caused more brawls in sports bars than lukewarm beer.
Oh, yeah.
NFL team records.
You know it.
Yeah, we're talking about those glorious wins, those soul-crushing losses, and all the bullshit in between.
All the bullshit.
We've all encountered that one asshat at the bar who thinks their team is the goddamn Jouet based on one lucky-ass season.
One lucky-ass season.
But guess what?
What?
We're here to separate the real contenders from the perennial dumpster fires once and for all.
Straight up.
And to help us do that, we got a stats whiz, a true guru of the gridiron.
You already know.
Someone who eats, sleeps, and shits football.
That's me.
So let's cut the crap and get right to it. We've got this Wikipedia article that's basically the holy grail of NFL win-loss records, covering both the regular season and the playoffs.
The holy grail.
And trust me, there are some surprises in here that'll make your head spin faster than a punt returner on bath salts.
Oh, yeah. Some of this shit is wild.
Before we get into the meat and potatoes of it all, we got to set the stage.
Okay.
This article talks about how the NFL has changed a shit ton over the years.
For sure.
We're talking about records that include teams from the old American Football League. The AFL.
Right.
Turns out the NFL considers those AFL records as part of their official history.
Makes sense considering the merger and all, but here's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
They don't count stats from the All-America Football Conference, the AAFC, even though those teams also merged into the NFL. Talk about a fucked up family tree.
It's like the NFL is trying to sweep those AAFC teams under the rug, pretending they never even existed.
Out of sight, out of mind, right?
But hey, who are we to judge? We're just here for the bloodbath. I mean, the stats.
So the games begin.
All right, let's kick things off with the regular season where legends are made and some teams just get their asses handed to them year after year.
Week after week.
First up, who the hell has the most wins ever?
That crown goes to the Green Bay Packers.
The
Packers hold on to your cheeseheads, folks, because they're sitting pretty with a whopping 800 wins.
800 wins. Damn, that's more victories than I've had beers on a Sunday.
Haha. Probably more than both of us combined.
But hold on a second, check this out. The Chicago Bears have played the most games. We're talking 1,469 trips to the gridiron, and they also have the most ties, a mind-blowing 42.
Yeah, the Bears are OGs.
I guess that's what happens when you've been around since the dinosaurs roamed the earth.
Longevity has its perks, I guess.
Speaking of being around forever, let's pour one out for the Arizona Cardinals.
Oh, yeah, the Cardinals.
They're holding on to the not-so-coveted record for the most regular season losses, a staggering 803 Ls. Someone get those guys a hug. Or maybe a new goddamn playbook.
Maybe both.
Yeah, well, some teams seem to lose more than others.
That's the truth.
But let's move on to something a little bit more positive, shall we?
Hit me.
We're talking about the highest regular season win-loss percentage.
Ooh, this is a good one.
And the winner is, drumroll please, the Dallas Cowboys. America's team, baby.
Well, at least according to Jerry Jones.
Now hold your horses there, partner. While it's true that the Cowboys boast a .576 win percentage,
Yeah.
there's a little asterisk we need to address.
Before 1972.
Before 1972, ties weren't factored into the win percentage calculations.
Exactly.
So comparing teams from different eras can be a bit tricky.
Apples and oranges, my friend.
The fine print always comes back to bite you in the ass.
Always.
But hey, I'm sure Jerry Jones isn't losing any sleep over it. He's probably too busy polishing his Super Bowl rings or counting his money.
You know it.
All right, now for the other side of the coin, the team with the lowest regular season win-loss percentage.
Let's hear it.
And the unfortunate champion of suckitude is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, with a measly .406 win percentage. Ouch. I almost feel bad for them almost.
They've had their moments.
True. But let's be real. They're not exactly known for their consistency.
Consistency isn't really their thing.
But hey, every dog has its day, right? Except maybe the Bucs.
Maybe.
All right, enough with the regular season bullshit. Things are about to get real.
Shit's about to get real.
We're talking playoffs, baby.
Playoffs, baby.
Where the pressure is on and one bad game sends you packing.
One and done.
No more participation trophies in the playoffs, folks.
Hell no.
It's win or go home time, and these teams got to bring their A game, or at least try to.
Or at least try to.
The intensity is turned up to 11. It's a whole different ball game.
It's a whole different animal.
Exactly. So first things first, which team has played in the most playoff games? Let's find out who the real veterans of the postseason are.
That would be the Dallas Cowboys with a whopping 67 playoff appearances.
67.
Love them or hate them, they've certainly been there and done that.
67 playoff appearances. Damn, that's more than I've had hot wings in my entire life.
Uh-huh. I believe it.
But let's be real. How many of those appearances ended in tears?
A lot, probably.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough about the Cowboys for now. Let's talk about playoff win-loss percentage. Who reigns supreme in the postseason?
The New England Patriots take the crown with an impressive .627 win percentage.
The Pats.
And with 37 playoff wins under their belt, they're definitely not messing around Brady or no Brady. They've been a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, those Pats are like the Terminator of the NFL. They just keep coming back for more.
They're relentless.
Of course, that probably makes a lot of fans out there want to puke.
Probably.
But hey, that's the beauty of football, right?
Love it or hate it, you gotta respect it.
Now, who has racked up the most playoff wins overall? Who's the king of the hill when it comes to postseason victories?
That honor goes to the San Francisco 49ers with a remarkable 38 wins. They've got a rich playoff history, that's for sure.
38 wins? That's a lot of champagne showers and victory parades.
A lot of celebrating.
But you know what they say? For every winner, there's a loser. Or in this case, a lot of losers.
And when it comes to playoff losses, we have a tie at the top. Both the Cowboys and the Vikings have racked up a painful 31 losses.
Damn, that's got to sting. It's like reaching the finish line only to trip and faceplant right before you cross it. All right, now, to the bottom of the barrel, who has the lowest playoff win-loss percentage? Let's see who's really got the playoff blues.
That unfortunate distinction belongs to the Cleveland Browns with a dismal .353 percentage.
The Browns.
The Browns. They've got 12 wins and a whopping 22 losses.
Poor Browns fans. They've had to endure some serious playoff heartbreak over the years. Hey, at least they're not the Texans, right?
Speaking of the Texans, they've got the fewest playoff appearances, wins, and losses, which makes sense considering they're a relatively new addition to the league.
Yeah, they're practically still in diapers compared to some of these other teams.
Right.
Give them a few more decades and maybe they'll catch up with the rest of the competitors.
We'll see how they develop. They have potential, but they've got a long way to go.
Okay, so we've thrown a lot of numbers at you, but before we wrap up this first part, let's just make one thing clear.
What's that?
Stats don't tell the whole goddamn story.
Exactly. You can't just look at the numbers and ignore all the other factors that contribute to a team's success or lack thereof.
We're talking about coaching, player performance, injuries, a little bit of luck, maybe even some black magic rituals. You never know what goes on behind the scenes in the NFL. But seriously, folks, there's a lot more to football than just wins and losses.
That's what makes it so damn compelling. It's a sport full of passion, drama, and unpredictability. And sometimes the underdogs come out on top. Well, at least sometimes.
We'll be back in a minute to break down some of the most mind-boggling records, the ones that make you question everything you thought you knew about the NFL.
Can't wait.
So grab another beer, take a piss, and get ready for round two.
Cheers to that. All right, let's get back to these insane NFL records and dig a little deeper into this madness.
Hit me with your best shot.
Yeah.
My brain's already fried from all those numbers, but I'm ready for more.
Okay, how about this? Remember we were talking about the Cowboys having the most playoff appearances?
Yeah.
Well, get this. They also hold the record for most playoff losses.
Wait, are you serious?
Yeah, it's serious.
So they're like the kings of showing up and then choking.
Pretty much.
That's got to be brutal for their fans.
They've racked up a whopping 31 playoff losses.
31.
Which, believe it or not, is tied with the Minnesota Vikings for the most all-time.
Jesus, those poor Vikings fans. They already suffer enough during the regular season. Now we're throwing salt in their wounds by reminding them of all those playoff heartbreaks.
Someone's got to lose, right? It's the nature of the beast.
True.
Yeah.
But let's move on from the misery of the Vikings and Cowboys for a second and talk about some of the weird quirks in these records.
Okay.
Anything jump out at you?
Well, the whole ties situation is definitely interesting. Remember before 1972, the NFL didn't factor ties into a team's winning percentage.
So basically they're just like, a tie's a tie. Nobody wins, nobody loses. Let's just go get drunk. It was a simpler time, I guess.
Something like that. But then they decided to start counting ties as half a win and half a loss.
Okay.
Which on the surface seems logical, but it really messes things up when you're trying to compare teams from different eras.
Yeah, it's like comparing apples and oranges. Or maybe apples and hand grenades. It just doesn't work.
Exactly. And then you've got the whole mess with the AFL and AAFC mergers.
Oh, yeah.
The NFL counts AFL records as part of their official history, but they completely ignore AAFC stats.
Talk about a family feud. It's like they're trying to pretend those AAFC teams never even existed.
It's a strange omission.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder how different the all-time records would look if they included those AAFC numbers.
Yeah, for all we know, there could be some forgotten AAFC team out there that would blow the Cowboys and their precious win percentage out of the water.
It's possible, but unfortunately, we'll never know for sure. The NFL's got their official narrative, and they're sticking to it.
All right, let's shift gears for a minute and talk about some individual teams. Any underdog stories that caught your eye?
Yeah.
Any teams defying the odds and making a name for themselves?
Well, the Jacksonville Jaguars are kind of interesting. They're the only team in the entire league that has never recorded a tie.
No ties. That's got to be some kind of record. Are they allergic to sharing points or something?
It is. It's like they're all about going for the jugular. Either they win outright or they go down swinging.
Sounds like my kind of team. No half-assing, just pure unadulterated victory or crushing defeat.
Mm.
I can respect that.
Exactly. And then you've got the Houston Texans. They've got the fewest playoff appearances, wins and losses, which is understandable since they're a relatively new franchise.
Yeah, they're still finding their footing. Give them a few more years and they'll be racking up the losses. I mean, wins just like the rest of them.
Let's hope so. It's always good to have some fresh blood in the mix.
Okay, enough about the Texans. Let's talk about a team that actually knows how to win, the New England Patriots. They've got the highest playoff win-loss percentage, and those 37 playoff wins are nothing to sneeze at.
They've definitely been a dominant force in the playoffs, especially during the Brady era. But even without Brady, they still managed to find ways to win.
Yeah, it's like they've got some kind of secret sauce. Or maybe they've made a deal with the devil.
I think their secret sauce is called Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
That guy's a coaching genius. He's always one step ahead of the game.
Yeah, Belichick's the mastermind behind the whole operation. He's like the Darth Vader of the NFL, but with a better track record.
Speaking of being ahead of the game, let's talk about the San Francisco 49ers. They've got the most postseason victories in NFL history, with a whopping 38 wins.
38 wins. That's more than most teams can even dream of. They're like the Energizer Bunny of the playoffs. They just keep going and going.
And they've got the rings to prove it. They've won 5 Super Bowls, which puts them in elite company.
5 Super Bowls. That's enough to make even the most jaded football fan drool with envy.
It's a testament to their sustained success over the years. They've had their ups and downs, but they always seem to find a way to come back strong.
All right, let's wrap up this segment with a quick shout-out to the team with the lowest playoff win-loss percentage, to the Cleveland Browns.
Poor Browns. They just can't seem to catch a break in the playoffs. It's like they're cursed.
Yeah, it's a tough life being a Browns fan. But hey, at least they've made it to the playoffs a few times, right?
Yeah.
There's more than some teams can say.
True enough. But I'm sure their fans are hoping for more than just a participation trophy. They're hungry for a championship.
And who knows, maybe one day their luck will change. But until then, they'll just have to keep on suffering.
It's the Browns way.
All right, we'll be back in a minute to break down what these records really mean and what we can learn from them. So stick around, grab another beer, and get ready for the grand finale. All right, we spent the last hour or so swimming in a sea of NFL win-loss records. We've seen the good, the bad, and the downright ugly.
The dynasties, the heartbreaks, the teams that just can't seem to get their shit together.
Well, let's get real for a minute. What the hell does it all mean? Are these records just a bunch of arbitrary numbers, or do they actually tell us something about the teams and the history of the league?
I think it's a bit of both, you
Yeah.
know? On the one hand, these records are a snapshot of a team's performance over time.
Yeah.
They show us who's been consistently kicking ass and who's been struggling to find their way.
They're like a report card for every team in the league, showing who's been steadying up and who's been slacking off.
Exactly. But on the other hand, you can't just look at the numbers and ignore all the other factors that contribute to a team's success or failure.
We're talking about coaching, player personnel injuries. A little bit of luck, maybe even some shady backroom deals. Who knows what really goes on in the NFL?
It's a wild world out there.
Yeah.
But even with all those variables, these records can give us some valuable insights.
For example, they can help us identify the true dynasties, the teams that have managed to stay on top for decades, like the Patriots and the 49ers.
Right. Those teams are the gold standard, the ones that everyone else is trying to emulate. They've figured out the formula for sustained success, and they've got the rings to prove it.
And these records can also help us understand the cyclical nature of the league, how teams rise and fall, how the balance of power shifts over time.
It's like the tides, man. Some teams are riding the wave while others are getting pulled under. It's all about adapting and evolving to stay ahead of the game.
So yeah, while these records might not tell the whole story, they definitely give us a glimpse into the wild and wonderful world of the NFL.
They're a testament to the hard work, dedication, and occasional sheer dumb luck that goes into building a successful football team.
And let's be real, They also provide endless fodder for arguments, debates, and trash talk among fans.
That's part of what makes football so damn fun. It's a sport that ignites passion, sparks rivalries, and brings people together, even if it's just to argue about who's got the better quarterback.
Well, folks, that about wraps up our deep dive into NFL win-loss records. We hope you enjoyed this roller coaster ride through the history of the league, and hopefully you learned a thing or two along the way.
Maybe you can even use this newfound knowledge to win your next bar argument. Just be careful who you're messing with. Some people take their football very seriously.
Yeah, you might end up getting your ass kicked if you challenge the wrong fan.
Word to the wise.
Anyway, until next time, keep those beers cold, those bets coming, and those fantasy rosters stacked. And always remember, in the NFL, there's only one thing that matters. And talking shit about the losers.
Damn right.
We out.